Hey, and welcome back, you handsome devil, to the Wicked Wild Podcast. We see you over there making eye contact, acting awkward. Come on over. We got plenty to talk about. It's midsummer. The days are getting dusty and hot, nasty. Everybody's looking for a little refuge from the sun. So let's wander out into the desert for some fun and maybe crack open a few cold ones together. Unfortunately, our boy Eli is still missing. We've had a couple of sightings. We've heard some rumors that he'll be back soon. So our fingers are crossed. But in the meantime, what we understand is that there's been a minor uprising within the kingdom, and the king has had to take matters into his own hands, and things have gotten a little messy. So best of luck to you, Eli. We hope that goes well. We look forward to you coming back soon. But tonight, got my two other hosts here with me, and we're going to talk about Tremors, a 1990 classic. But first, let's talk to each of my hosts. We're going to start with John up in Detroit, Michigan, as the French would say. How's it going, John?
It's true. It's just like the fur trappers that used to reside here. So historical. Dropping knowledge bombs here, Dave.
Exactly. Facts. That's like I was just listening. We just posted on the Twitter about the episode that Eli and Jeff and Jaime did on Dr. Satan, where
Dr. Satan?
Jeff was convinced that apparently all French are psycho killers, and apparently
accurate.
Jack the Ripper was in France.
It's such a declarative statement. Granted, I think we're past the what was it, the statute of limitations on murder at this point? So I mean, like, whatever.
So the quality of our fact checking is 10 out of 10.
Top notch.
Exactly. We
I was
don't
gonna
mess
say
around.
Eli definitely is already accused, I think, at least a dozen people of some sort of felony at minimum.
Yeah. The New York Times has reached out to us to host a quick seminar with their journalistic team to kind of train them in our ways. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. We'll get back to that as soon as we get all the details worked out. But John, I did have a question.
Ooh.
I want you to be honest. So are there parts of you, like me, that look at the lifestyle that Earl and Val had, and there's just something pretty attractive about the way that those guys are living life out there in the desert?
I mean,
we could do this, right? Me and you, we could do this lifestyle, right? The handyman.
In another lifetime, Dave, absolutely. I don't think living on the range is like my vibe, and especially
you don't want to live it out of a pickup truck.
No,
that's a hell of a pickup truck, John.
I mean, it's a classic. It's probably an antique at this point too, but
so am I. So
the one job I will not take though is the septic or septic tank emptying job.
Oh, you're not sumping out septics? Come on.
No, we're not doing that. And they were like, no normal sane person would have reacted that way to be covered in like raw sewage. I'm sorry.
Honestly, John, what's the number? Give me the number that to get you to go out and pump out somebody's fresh septic tank. What's the number?
Oh, just are we talking about once, or are we talking about like a career? Like a career. If we're talking a career, I'm gonna need probably $350 to $450 a year, and I don't mean dollars. I mean hundreds of thousands.
Yeah, maybe that's not the career path for you then.
No. Handyman, honestly, Dave, if we kept the beer cold, like Walter's coldest beer in town,
exactly,
or as long as we could, we could do handyman work.
Exactly. I mean, I tell you what, I for damn sure can get a staple into a post in less than 8 friggin' whacks like Bacon took.
Dave, we'll get into this, but like there's no way that was not intentional. It's literally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Got it. Nailed it. Like, what? All right. I've talked enough. We have another person we need to talk to.
Oh, hi, Jaime. How are you?
Hi. Yeah, I'm good.
Our New Yorker. Our New Yorkanite.
Who's currently living in a campfire, dumpster fire. Yeah. I know people like to call New York a dumpster fire, but like right now
the air matches. So as our resident New Yorker and well established within our show, and we have a resident New Yorker who's front and center in this movie, I have to ask a question. I hope don't take offense, but it's something that drives me crazy. It just drives me up the wall every single time. I'm going to put my beer bottle cap down. I'm sure everybody can hear it rattling in the background there. So why does every New York actor, a classically trained, very skilled actor like Kevin Bacon, why does every New York actor playing any sort of rural character go full Yosemite Sam?
I love it. That's the best part of the movie.
Do they genuinely believe that everybody outside of the greater metropolitan area friggin' lives in a hillbilly hut? Is that what they assume?
I think so. I think they just assume everybody outside of New York has one or two other accents, as if we don't have the most identifiable accent.
I mean, I've been to Nevada, I've been to Wyoming, I've been to Colorado. They do not have hick accents, and trust me, I know. As a progenitor of the hillbilly accent, I don't know why everybody outside of Hollywood or New York feels like
because when you put on the cowboy boots and the hat, you got to start
talking like this.
Yeah. I don't know.
I mean, there are some scenes that are just egregious. I mean, and I like Bacon. I think I love him in this movie, but when he first opened his mouth, I'm like, God damn it.
Yeah, it's pretty. It's funny because it's like something I didn't make a note of it because I didn't need to, because it was just so and I've seen this movie a million times and we'll get into that, but this was one of the first times I questioned why he was so heavy on an actor, as I'm sitting there listening to him.
Exactly.
But
he went heavy after it for sure.
It's Bacon. I'll let him do whatever he wants.
Yeah, exactly. So as I mentioned, our boy Eli is out again this week. Hopefully he'll be back for our next review. So we don't have an official Wicked Whisper for this week, but I have to admit, and I'm not happy about it, but apparently Eli is starting to rub off on me in some ways. I don't know if Jaime, you and John saw the news this week about the whistleblower.
I saw from you, but
I saw you post something.
On my own.
I'm like, damn it, Eli, why is this stuff showing up in my feed now? But now we've got this Air Force intelligence whistleblower out there that's talking about, oh yeah, that's confirmed. Yeah, there is a actual process within the U.S. government for UFO, UAP, whatever you want to call them, recovery program. So I'm like, fantastic. Well, I'll just hand that off to Eli and pretend like it doesn't exist. So I can go back to my life. So that's the diet Wicked Whisper for this week.
Because your phone is listening to us when we have these conversations, and I'm surprised all our phones aren't giving us Eli related articles at this point.
We are all within the Eli scope now, the Eli sphere, as we'll call it. He has painted us. So we're going to jump right into our movie review this week. It's going to be a fun conversation, I think, because it's a fun movie. So if you remember last week or last time in our review, John gave the synopsis for us on Return of the Living Dead. So he's going to be my on-the-fly synopsis interviewee to see who has to give the on-the-fly synopsis this week. So my question to you, John, is you've got your Caterpillar hooked up to the flatbed, about to save everybody in town's life.
I like it.
Problem is, you got two people on opposite ends of town. You've got to choose one of them to go save.
Okay.
So are you saving Earl?
This is a rough question.
Or are you saving Val?
Oh. See, the sad part is I paid such close attention, I can't remember who was who. So I'm just going to go with Van.
Val it is.
Val, you mean?
Val, Van.
That's whatever. Bacon. You went for the Baconator.
Well, that's perfect. That's who I wanted to.
Well, we know who that is. Jaime, tell us about Tremors.
So, I mean, this is just going to be a short one. We've got a small town of, what are they like? It's called Perfection, right? The town, it's like 14 people. In it, we have these two gentlemen who, upon leaving town, discover that they can't get out. When they further investigate why, to a degree, we find out that there are giant monsters that are living underground that are attracted by sound vibration, like snakes, if you will. They can't see. They can't, there's also a college is she college? She's got to be like grad school. I wasn't really.
Yeah, I would say grad school.
She's like a scientist. So, who's studying seismology? Is that the right word? Mm-hmm. So she's integral in telling them how many monsters there are and where these things are coming from to a degree. And it's just these monsters terrorizing a very, 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 very small town of people. I mean,
yeah, a handful of people.
I went longer, I think, than even this movie needs a description of. But
all right, fair enough. And that's really all you need to know about Tremors. Really. So, Jaime, tell us about your experience with this movie. Did you see it in theaters?
So,
in 1990, when you were born?
I was born. I mean, I don't want to say how old I was, but I was definitely born. So I did not get to see this in theaters. I will start off by saying this episode is dedicated to my mother and sister.
Oh,
because this movie is a classic in our household.
Yeah, it is.
So I'm going to start right off the bat and tell you all that I cannot objectively judge this movie in 2023 because as many of my co-hosts, and I will put Eli in that too, have shared for certain movies, there is always a nostalgia factor for some that you can never see anything bad in it. And I'm letting everybody know right now, this is that movie for me. I'm sure there's others, but
it can do
this
no
is
wrong.
One of the first one. Yeah, this is one of the first ones that's not a modern, it can do no wrong, like Evil Dead 2013. This is like, this movie can do no wrong because of the love my family has for it. The love we have for it is like threefold. My mom, I don't want to say used to, she's a big Kevin Bacon fan. But so when I was little, you always, you gravitate to things your parents like. This is probably one of the, if not first things I saw him in, because I mean, it's early in his career. I saw Footloose. I don't know when that was related to this. And I don't know if I saw it first or second, but that doesn't even compare to Tremors. So who cares? Also, my uncle, my dad's uncle, who was like a grandfather to me, is like the biggest Reba McEntire fan. Sorry, he's no longer with us. So there's that portion of it too, because like he loved her. And so we liked her. And then additionally, when I did first see this, back to your question, I saw it on television back in the day. And TV is really bad at censorship. And this movie has quite a few fucks thrown in and even goddams and all these things used to have to be edited on television. I mean, fuck still is to a degree, but goddamn and stuff like that. But the way they like censored this movie, it was hilarious cover-ups that like, so my sister and I just found this as like a comedy. Like we loved every time they like cursed and it was some nonsensical word in there. So this movie like holds a special place. It's still quoted in my family. It will always be quoted in my family. Even more to it though, it's a monster movie that's like a made up monster. So there's like no rules they really have to follow except for the very few that they set up in the movie. So right. I think it works to that degree. Thing. Yeah. And it's like they go with what they want. I'm sure if you pay attention, they go against some of their rules, but I'm not paying attention because it's a fun, just monster movie comedy. Like I will put it as comedy before horror. Like could more people die in this movie? Of course. Could, but it's so much fun and funny and holds a special place that I don't care. Like that was my criticism of watching it now. It was like, oh, we have this small but large pool of people. Like we could kill more of them. But I like the cast is overall likable. Like Kevin Bacon and Fred Ward, I love them. It's like the cutest duo, and I wish they made way more of these just like for them to hang out. But
and it's all character actors, which is always a lot of fun.
Yeah, like it's just I love this movie. That's all I have to say. I love this movie, and I will say no bad things about it.
And if anybody else does,
get out.
You'll whoop them. All right, John, come in here and tell us how much you hate this movie.
I don't hate this movie at all. It is. I have the most antlers review for this movie. It is a movie. It has some very charming elements. It does not. I don't think it overstays its welcome at all. I love Kevin Bacon. I love Fred Ward. I mean, Reba McEntire's fine. I'm still trying to understand why Michael Gross is like the one lone actor that like carried the franchise forward.
That's my note too.
Oh, we're going to talk about it.
That's my note too. Is why he's the
why
he's
is
the only one? He's the only one that agreed to make more of these.
Exactly.
I assume. Yeah.
He's like, I'll do more Tremors. I mean, if Kevin Bacon and Fred Ward kept showing up, like I could see how this could build and grow and get crazier. It was funny. I think I would have liked this movie more, and I would have had like similar feelings as Jamie had if I would have seen it probably when she saw it, because it's a time capsule in terms of what it is.
Mhm.
And it was when people didn't realize campy movies were like they tried too hard. Like Sharknado is intentionally trying to be campy. Like the 80s and then parts of the 90s, like they were still doing like, oh, we're trying to have fun and it's sort of campy, but we're still sort of serious. It was like that weird gray area.
They were trying, yeah.
Right. And I mean, actually, for the special effects for this movie, it's like, okay, this is impressive. But for me, the movie, because I guess, newsflash, I did not see this till I was much older. If I would have seen this in the 90s, I think, even on TV, I would have probably been more into it, like especially like late night TV.
Yeah, I think that makes a big difference with this movie.
Yeah.
I think, but
yeah, I mean, it's still fine. It's like a fun background, like a fun movie. You could totally throw this on like at a Halloween party or even like people having some drinks and just throw it on the background. It's great because it's got goofy moments. I mean, Grandpa from the Three Ninjas is in there, classic. You had Jurassic Park girl, which if you really want a treat, you need to go read what her agent wrote on her IMDb. The woman has been in only one movie since I think like 2001, but yet the way the profile is written is as if she's like the best thing in Hollywood ever. And it's just like, what? She's not acting. Why? Like, who's writing this?
Film history.
Kind of. That's kind of what the profiles are. I mean, kudos. She was in Jurassic Park. That's like, I mean, it's a Steven Spielberg classic.
And more importantly, she played Mindy in Tremors.
Yeah, I mean, she caused that worm to come crazy after her.
And came back in one of the sequels.
One thing. Oh, yeah, that's right. She did. I did. Because I only know that because I looked through her credits. I'm like, the one thing I did like is how Walter was hung up on coming up with a name. That one, like.
Exactly.
Like that part, like I'd seen it years ago. I hadn't seen it in years because I was just like, it's okay, whatever. It didn't really strike me, But since I watched it, I kind of got a little bit bored. I've been dealing with some obviously work, I guess, for the kids these days. They would call it trauma lately. Yeah, if we're going to use buzzwords, but as I've been so I haven't been able to focus too much, especially the movie didn't suck me in. However, though, I did pick up Walter's trying to name this thing. It's like, why does this dude care this much about the name? And they even call it out. And then I started watching it again tonight because I'm like, I want to make sure it's fresh. And then the name thing, it caught a couple laughs out of me because he kept trying to come up with a name. Isn't there
Walter is the marketer of the group for sure.
Isn't there like an ass blaster?
Yeah, that's in the sequels.
See, that's number 3. We're going to talk about it because Dave may or may not have gone down a graboid hole.
Oh man, I
may have watched all of them within the last month.
Oh no,
did you? Because I've seen some of them, but not recently.
There
oh my God, we'll
are
talk
7
about it.
them.
I know, and I've seen some. I've seen the one where they go to the West. We'll talk about it.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean,
Oh,
Dave.
my
I mean,
gosh.
is this clearly like a ripoff from Dune? Because that's kind of what
Of
I
course,
started.
yeah.
I mean, that's kind of what I was like leaning into. I'm like,
But
this
when they
feels
get
like
to 3 and introduce the ass blaster, I'm like, damn it, I'm in. Fuck it. Let's do this.
oh, so the camp goes up as we keep
Oh
going.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean,
So-
Jamie Kennedy enters the picture.
Yeah.
See,
mean,
I
come
don't
on.
see. That's too much. That's
John-
Jamie Kennedy belongs in Scream. That's where he belongs.
John, there may be an episode with Napoleon Dynamite.
Shut up.
The latest one in 2020. There was a Tremors made in 2020. Has John
Yeah, there
Hader
was.
in it.
So is this going to be like if we somehow manage to keep this thing rolling for years and years, are we going to just do another Tremors every year until we watch them all, or can we just
Don't
Oh, us?
threaten me with a good time.
Oh yeah, we could do. Yeah.
or can we just keep doing Tremors now, just in a row since
yeah.
Eli's
Oh,
gone?
That's all we do.
Yeah,
Just change the format of the show. We
Just every
Tremors.
the Wicked Wild, aka the Tremors podcast. Sorry, Eli, the format changed, but you're out.
I think
The
we have a
Graboid
spin-off.
con-
Maybe we have a spin-off where it's like we
Yeah.
get together on a
The
different
Gummer
night.
Files is what we'd have to call them. Because everything else is just Burt Gummer.
And
Yeah,
what happened?
it's-
Does Reba
Spoilers.
McEntire come back?
No, we'll get
No.
it. We'll get into the no.
Sorry.
You,
Okay.
you
Oh
really
man.
think? Wait, you think
Oh.
of all these actors
No.
besides you
No.
think Reba McEntire was coming back for any of these?
How did they get Reba McEntire? Is what I want to know. It's
Because
like
at the time,
This was her first film.
Was it really? Oh
Yeah.
man, Reba, you could have done better, girl.
No,
Oh, come on.
This is a great first film. I bet she's so proud of it.
How dare you, John?
Yet Cocaine Bear is an instant classic.
You haven't Dave things yet about this movie, but
oh, this is what I was hoping for. Tonight is the night. Our love for one another. Everybody's getting behind the scenes. Everybody's a little tipsy on the podcast.
Oh man,
this is what our around the table in person conversations go like.
I had a little bit of Tennessee cough syrup earlier tonight, so
I should have gotten mine that I still.
it wasn't the moonshine though. It was that PB whiskey,
PB
or bourbon. Sorry,
PB
yes,
bourbon.
No,
little peanut butter bourbon there for you.
Yeah.
We know how to do it here. Everything's better with peanut butter. Come on.
I had to pour one out for Darren. No particular reason, just cause.
I was like,
Darren,
anyway.
Officially, if Darren's listening, everybody else in the audience needs to know Darren is not dead.
No, he's not. No. He just showed me a new stormtrooper today. So
he's living his best life. Okay, so I love this movie. So there's no surprise at all. This is right up my alley. Actually, I think in our Cocaine Bear episode, me and Jaime kind of went down a little rabbit hole talking about Tremors and Slither and some of these movies that are all belong to this little sweet spot of movies that are very nostalgic, to use Jamie's term, to me. I mean, I love these kind of movies. I saw this one in college. Now, for me, that means I saw it like 2 years after it came out. But so F you if you want to judge me for that.
Wow. But I would judge you, Dave. Who?
But I did see it in college, and this became a annual watch for me and the guys and girls that I hung out with. We would have these Tremor parties to where you would dress up, and there was drinking games. There are a ton of drinking games that go along with Tremors, as you can imagine.
Now I'm jealous.
And it really ignited my love for campy creature features. Now, I know that there are campy creature features that came before Tremors, but for me and my human experience, this was the one that helped me to realize that is a genre that just hits different for me, that I genuinely love. I really love the formula of this movie, which is the campy creature feature formula. I don't know that they came up with, but I do certainly think they added to it in a very meaningful way. The kinds of characters, the character interactions. There are things in here like you've got the scientist, and then you've got the conspiracy theorist, and then you've got the handyman or the capable outsider. Those are all character facsimiles that I think Tremors really put a hard spotlight on, and it became part of the ongoing formula for a lot of creature features come out. And I'll admit, I have made the argument before, and I don't know how Jamie's going to feel about this, but this is a Jaws formula, but it's just a Jaws formula with less money, and they totally embrace that. Like, to your point, John, in the effects, you could tell that they didn't do effects to be ironically bad. Like, they did their best with what money they had to make some cool effects. But I swear to God, every time I see that graboid puppet snake, I laughed my ass off. And the first time I saw it, I couldn't stop laughing, but it was a laugh out of love. Like, I wasn't laughing at how stupid what they put out there was. It was that I saw a group of people that this is the limit of the money we have, but we're going to go for it. This thing's going to have friggin' snakes in its mouth. And if that means me having a rubber puppet, then
this might be one of my favorite creatures of all time, is a graboid.
Really?
It's got everything going for it.
I love them. Yeah.
When they put that snake face on the glass going after the woman in the station wagon,
love it.
I was like, yep, Jamie is right. This year the wiener.
Yep. There it is. Oh, there's wieners on wieners in this movie.
Oh, yeah, there's 3 wieners per mouth, apparently.
three wieners per wiener.
Oh, that's right, because it itself is a wiener.
Oh, it's just a huge phallus is all it is. We're going to talk about that.
With a crazy mouth on the end of it.
Exactly.
Wow.
But what surprised me, and the first couple of watches, this probably didn't register with me, but as I've gotten older and more sentimental in my old age, and nostalgia has really kind of kicked in for this movie. There is a lot more heart and whimsy in this movie than I ever gave it credit for. You know, like every time they do the pole vaulting scene, that's just such a fun little sweet scene where they're pole vaulting from rock to rock. And it's just the dumbest thing in the world. But the music's perfect and it's so lighthearted. I mean, they're trying to survive a friggin' monster that wants to kill them, but they're just pole vaulting from rock to rock. And they're like synchronized pole vaulting from rock to rock. It's just a lot of fun for me. It gave us the most randomly fantastic series of movies in the entire creature feature genre, which I think it has to get credit for that. And we're going to talk about the movies that came after this in a little bit, but you know, I love this movie. I love the isolated desert town camp. Like that became a whole thing after this, the whole isolated desert people living up in a ghost town somewhere. It kind of gave that to us. I don't know. I love this movie. That's all.
Agreed.
Yeah, I mean, I'm envious of both of you. I think in the moment, like, because again, I think this movie is fine. I like
it does not offend.
No, it's not offensive at all. If anything, it's one of those things like I want to be either of you. Like I want to go back in time, see it in the moment. I want to see this at the drive-in. This is a great drive-in movie.
This would be a fantastic drive-in movie.
I mean, yeah, I said it and I'll just say it again, like seeing this as a kid, and I know Dave didn't, but I'm just saying, like, for me, like seeing something like this as a kid, it's amazing. Like this movie is amazing as a child, or even as an adult, if you still like, I'm just saying, but like to Dave's point of it shaping liking creature features or even horror, like this movie I have to give credit to because of how young I probably saw it, that it like, you know, it shaped some of my obviously interests and creature features and things like that. Like, I mean, the scene, like two of the scenes, like the scene where he lifts the hat and it's just a head.
Yes.
And like, and the scene where the graboid comes after the couple, as a kid, even that like had creeped me out a little bit. I mean, I loved this movie, but like those are like intense to a degree.
Or the buried grill of a car.
Like,
that's freaky.
Yeah, when they find that, like, and you're just like, oh fuck, like it pulled the whole goddamn car into the sand.
See, like, that's the part that's missing for me. I don't have that childlike whimsy and imagination. However, what you're describing is how Gremlins was for me.
Yeah.
You can never tell me that's a bad movie. I mean, you can say it's bad, but I think you're crazy. But
just tune us out if we do.
I mean, you can have that opinion.
But like for a movie that's like so silly and so campy to a degree, like, you know, like there's a whole slew of characters, but somehow I feel like I know all of them. And the movie's only an hour and a half, but it gave you enough with each person, even them just sitting around the general store or whatever, like where you got to know everybody so quickly, even how fucking obnoxious Melvin is in like, and does Melvin live in a shack?
Yeah.
I've never quite understood. That's it. Does he not have a family? He's only like 14 or something, or 15. I don't know, maybe 16.
Oh, he lived in the trailer.
We know it's
he got a septic
Melvin
tank
was in that shack.
No, that's Melvin, where he hid when the worm was there. No, he lives at John's right. He lives at the trailer where the septic.
Oh, with the other guy?
Yeah.
With what's his name?
I think his dad
was
in the shop in Chang's.
Lester or whatever his name is. I don't know, one that jumps on the tire when they say get off the floor and he gets, and I've always remembered that scene as a kid. Like they say get off the floor and he sits in a fucking tire like it's gonna do anything. I don't know. Like the
brightest guy in the world.
No, but and Tier, like there's just, and I love Kevin Bacon. I said it up top. He does no wrong. God help us if he gets fucking canceled. But I think we're on a good run here, and I think it's okay. Like
he survived them, right?
Yeah. He survived that. I didn't see that. I was going.
I didn't either, but I heard it was
suspect. Touch and go for a minute.
But he like in this movie, his delivery of so many lines are just fucking fantastic. Like when they kill the first one and he just yells "fuck you" to it, but he's just like so, and he's so proud of him. They're so proud of themselves. Like, oh my god. Or like I wrote down, because I guess it was like one of the first times I caught his delivery of when he gets mad at the prairie dog burrow and he calls them little sons of bitches. Like it's just like it's just a delivery though, like of just like, I'm like, oh my god, it's like adorable. But
there's the so line good. When he and the scientist and Earl are out there talking about the first graboid that kills itself, and Earl asked like, do people know about this? And he goes, oh yeah, we all know about this, Earl. We just got together and decided not to tell you. And I'm like, I've been on enough construction crews and labor crews. I've heard that comment. I've heard that smart ass remark to somebody's stupid question before. And it was just perfectly executed.
I mean, their relationship is so adorable. I know I said earlier, but like the rock, paper, scissors to do things, like just the way they treat each other. I just I can't.
I think I just need to watch this movie like 10 more times and I'll be right there with you guys. I think that's kind of what it is. Like, just
2 more beers and watch it again.
I would say more like a 6-pack and keep watching. You got to drink the 6-pack and keep watching, and it'll just build on each other.
It'll find
each
you.
one.
Yeah. Well, and to Jamie's point, and this is something that stood out to me, obviously, in post 2020 watches of movies like these, because some of these movies that you go back and watch, you're like cringing the whole time. Like, am I about to ruin an experience for this movie? But to Jamie's point earlier about cancel culture and this, there's nothing in this movie that I can think of that could possibly be offensive. I mean, even the way it portrays, I mean, other than stripping her pants off of her, and even that's not handled.
It's not exploitative. It's not like she literally
survival.
She gets it off, and then she runs and she has pants the next scene.
Exactly.
Like there's not even like a moment of like.
And she's wearing her granny panties. She gets bandaged up and gets a new pair of pants. Done. But no, I can't think of anything in this movie that could be possibly offensive to anybody.
I mean,
like malicious.
The Kevin Bacon comments when in the very beginning, where he's going,
with the car,
where he's like talking about how the ass that don't quit and like that part,
his perfect woman thing.
But
that's the joke.
But no, exactly, and that's the reason why it's okay. But I mean, that's literally everything is inoffensive. I mean, maybe some gun culture enthusiasts might be offended the lack of guns that Bert has, but I mean.
I think Bert's got almost everything in there.
I mean, it's America. You could always have more.
Exactly.
I also like how they keep because we just touched on her, but like they keep asking her about it, and she goes, "How do I?"
Why do you keep asking
her?
Actually, that's
she's a scientist, and like she well, I mean, to their defense, she's the one that told them there's 3 of them because she figured it out based on her seismograph or whatever, I'm making up words, which I love, like. That whole angle. It doesn't even need to exist, but the fact that she's studying seismology or whatever, and that's how she discovers that they exist or how they function and whatever is just like, I don't know. It's like an added little angle that's just like not necessary, but great. But anyway, so like, to be fair, it's all her fault because once she explained that to them, they just assumed she could figure everything else out.
To their credit, they recognized at that point, and they were right, that she's the smartest person in the room.
Wow.
So
talk to her about it.
Like, so you're saying modern society could learn something from this movie, that science is power.
She may know what the hell she's talking about. And even if she doesn't, she can figure it out better than I can.
Yeah.
Shut up, Dave. And then that's ignorant.
And then you got Bert just shooting at dirt, thinking he could get through to like
that's a man we
not calculate for penetration in there.
That scene where he's just shooting at the dirt and Reba McEntire tells him to like literally stop at one point.
What are you doing?
No, I think I need to go watch this movie again with more beer. This is all I do. I need to watch it with you guys.
Should have done a live watch along.
This is way more fun talking about it than it was watching it. I'll be honest.
The last scene of that movie, second to last, like let's not say the capper, but the last action scene of that movie is like one of my family's favorite scenes ever, where like all 3 of them are running out because she's got the lighter, he's got the bomb. It's just like a perfect setup of like to your point of being whimsy and lighthearted too. Like you're talking about the pinnacle scene of like we got to get rid of this last one. The tenseness of it chasing them or whatever's happening, and it's just like. It's pure comedy though, and it's done so well with them all running out there and like
Let's call it by its name, Stumpy.
Yes, I love Stumpy. I have his name. I love Stumpy.
That's its name. How did I miss that?
Yeah, because when they rip that's the one that
tore off on the axle. Yeah.
So they.
Oh yeah, no, I'm remembering.
Yeah, one of them is Stumpy. He's the smartest one because he's not falling for their tricks.
He's spitting dynamite back at them. Which is my favorite scene when he spits the dynamite back on the bag of dynamite. Of course he does. And then when they all stand up and like Earl and Val and the girl are like 300 yards away, and he's like, how the hell did you get out there?
And then that starts that scene. It's just that whole scene is fantastic from them being out there and he's got a goddamn plan. Like the whole
Of course
thing.
he does.
It's like, oh my God. And him running out there with it. And then
No.
the best part when they go, where's the lighter? And she goes, I have it. And she starts running is like, oh my God. Classic.
Yeah, when Val gets serious about, no, Stumpy's smarter than these other ones. He's not going to fall for it.
What?
Stumpy knows.
This sounds like Eli was in this movie.
In a lot of ways, it was that kind of mentality. Yeah.
I wonder what moles would think about graboids.
They're kind of similar. They're living underground, terrorizing people.
This is very true. Moles are a scourge.
Like, also, I mean, the graboids, and we're not going to yet talk about the sequels. I've seen a couple, but the ones I've seen, I think I've watched once, so I can't tell you. But like, they get more CGI, right? And it looks worse and worse. Yeah, because like this movie, I know we talked about budget and whatever, and I understand they're puppets, but like, I don't like. Okay, Jaws is one of my favorite movies of all time, and I've said it many times when I watch Jaws that like, so many people make fun of what the shark looks like, but in my head, it's so weird, but the way I've conflated things is like I see that as a real shark because I love Jaws so much that I love the way the mechanical shark looks. I think he's adorable. Wow. In my head, he's a version of a great white like a different species of great white. But like seeing these things, like I never thought they looked bad until that CGI got heavily impacted in the sequels. But like these puppets, like
they look great.
Kind of great. Like I don't care about the hands and the like.
Yeah, we know what they are, but we don't care.
Yeah, and because again, back to my point in the beginning, because they're a made-up monster, I think is half of it too. Is like it can look like whatever the fuck it wants, and you're just like, okay. These big prehistoric skulls that are at the front of them,
dinosaur worms. Yeah, and we had that conversation in the Cocaine Bear episode where the nice thing about graboids is they can make whatever rules, and I'll accept them. It's not like an actual animal on drugs. It's a frigging graboid. I don't know what it is. You tell me that whatever, that it can hear me when I'm standing around.
Yeah.
I have to accept that. That's
you can find your pogo stick.
Exactly.
Yeah. And and that's what we said. Like I said, like it's like it has its own rules. I'm sure it breaks some of them, especially as the sequels go on. But I'm like fine with the rules that it sets because there are none. These things are monsters that just exist in a Tremors world, and I will take whatever they do at face value and say, okay, they can't go through rock, but they could go through the building. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, they'll kill themselves if they go through an aqueduct wall, but if they go through Burt Gummer's basement, they're fine.
It's different construction. You're talking about a solid pour versus a block, dude. It's way different.
It's just science. I understand.
I mean, come on. I mean, cement in block form is not nearly as stable as a solid pour with reinforced rebar.
Well, like the first one kills itself just by coming out the mountain without shooting out, right? Like he literally just he bonks himself on the head and kills himself.
Exactly.
Yep.
But then the other one comes through the basement, doesn't do a thing, and the other one goes flying off the cliff.
I like that one.
I love the worm deaths in this. Like I know I complain about not enough actual people deaths, but the worm deaths make up for it because like they're all
spray
ridiculous.
of orange goo is fantastic.
It goes everywhere.
I don't know. Walter's death was pretty legendary. I mean, you want to talk about camp. There's some good camp, and I mean, he's trying to sell it as hard as he could.
Yeah,
that's the Quint death in this.
Yeah,
it happened too soon, though. If we're being honest, like I mean, the Quint death is legendary, and I don't care if anybody says, "Oh, the shark looks bad in Jaws." You can get out.
Go live your life somewhere.
I agree. I'm just saying that, like, we can acknowledge that it doesn't really look like a real shark. Whereas,
of course not.
This thing looks like a living thing to me. I don't know. It's fake. No. It's made up. Yeah. I'm gonna take it.
I agree.
I'm gonna say this is what they look like. Graboids. They're living under Manhattan right now.
Why don't we have them? Well, I know why they don't live in Manhattan. There's too much concrete.
So they can't get.
They can't get around, and then there's too many trains on the tracks in the subterranean holes.
It's in the way.
Yeah, so they'd have to go above the surface, and nobody likes that because then they'd have to grow eyeballs, and that just look weird.
So Jaime mentioned this earlier, and I am curious, and I'll share my experience here in a minute. But what of the sequels have either of you seen? John, have you seen any of them?
No, this is it. I've only seen Tremors 1. I saw it years ago. I'm like, meh, I'm good. Okay. I'll never watch another one. No need.
Jaime, which ones have you seen?
I've seen one a billion times, and then I'm sure I saw like 2 and 3. I saw whichever one was a prequel where they're in the Old West. That's one, right? Because you watched them all recently. So I saw 4. I might have stopped there. I might have stopped at 4.
It's a good place to stop.
Dave, did Tubi send you down a rabbit hole?
But Jamie Kennedy's not at them till like what, 6 or 5? Like, because I don't even know if so maybe I've seen a Jamie Kennedy one too. I think I at least have seen pieces of a late one on television and like just couldn't even comprehend what was it's just not.
So I feel like I need to explain myself a little bit. So
explain.
Little inside baseball to all of our audience. A lot of the episodes that we kind of record a hard schedule for a couple of months, and then we may take a month off, or we may.
Shut up.
I mean, so
you're ruining it. You're breaking the fourth wall, Dave. Stop.
I just talked about how it's orange outside, so anybody can figure.
Exactly.
Why is it orange outside when that happened like months ago?
So Jamie and John know that we took pretty much all of May off. Now I knew this episode was coming.
You're ruining.
And I know it. Totally the man behind the curtain.
Our 5 listeners are minds are being blown.
So we were off for a lot of May, and I didn't have a lot to watch because I've got a pretty regular schedule, obviously, for the show and for other things that I'm interested in. There's shows that I want to keep up with, and Last of Us finished, and so I didn't have anything kind of on deck for May. And then Apple, and John, if you're interested, or Jamie, if you don't have it, Apple has this full bundle available. All 6 except for the 7th, and I'll explain that here in a minute.
Why not the 7th?
So you can buy the entire series of Tremors movies for the cost of 1 and 2.
Dave.
Really?
What resolution are we talking, Dave?
HD, 4K. Well, 4K where it's available. I think the first 3 are not available in 4K.
I mean, I was just thinking today, why don't I own this? Because I don't even understand.
Well, Apple has it available.
I think because it's always on television.
Exactly.
I've never had to own it.
I gotta find out how much this is now.
So
anyway,
I had originally only seen the original because I had heard about the rest of them. But I had a wild hair to go down the Burt Gummer Chronicles. And for those that don't know, other than the first one, Burt Gummer is the only recurring character, other than Mindy does make, and I'll get to that one in a minute. Mindy does make an appearance in the 3rd one, but the rest of them become the Burt Gummer Chronicles. So for the first one, it's jarring because Earl is actually in the first sequel, the 2nd movie. Earl's in there with Bert, and they go to Mexico to do something. And that's when you get introduced to the Shriekers, which is the first monster edition, which is an infrared predator type.
What?
Boy that walks around, which was fantastic. And then the 3rd one, it's that from 3 on, it becomes the Burt Gummer show. I mean, he doubles down on this character in such he
becomes like a joke
for me. It's such a fantastic way. Like he's totally unironically like going for the last action hero kind of persona as
I like it.
Michael Gross, who is this beanstalk dude, used to play the dad on Family Ties, but he owns it in a way that is so hilarious. So in the 3rd one is when we get introduced to the Ass Blasters.
Yep.
And the 3rd one is when Mindy comes back trying to reignite her career, which I think it came out in like 1999, the same year that Blair Witch and a couple of other movies that we talked about came out. We got the 3rd one. And then this became a direct-to-video after that. Surprise. And then actually 3rd one might be a direct-to-video.
Yeah, wait a
minute. I think 2 came out.
Oh, did it? 3 has to be direct.
Yeah, I think it's direct-to-video. And it's so bad.
Dave, the audacity they have to charge what they charge for these movies is obnoxious. They're charging $14.99 on iTunes right now per movie.
There's a box set deal that they had. I don't know if it's still.
The complete, which is not complete. It's
almost
it 7. Right. It's almost complete collection is $40 right now.
Exactly.
So by the time everybody else hears this was like 7 months ago, and it's probably and it's probably going to be $79.99. However, so if you can listen in real time, you can get it for $40 right now.
Exactly. So, and then the 4th one, you have them go back to the Wild West.
I've definitely seen that one.
Dave, please tell me you've subjected your children to this.
No. Well, actually, Evelyn watched 3 of them with me because he kind of got interested in them.
How do you just stop at 3 at that point? By the time, I mean, it's like you got to see.
Well, it was late in my watching.
Oh, I say he didn't get to watch 1. Like he hasn't seen.
No,
he didn't watch,
he hasn't seen 1. He hasn't seen 2 or 3. He's seen the worst.
He's seen the ones that are terrible.
So he's probably concerned for his dad right now. Like I watched these with my dad. You need to
see this.
I never could define depression until I did this with my dad, and now I understand what depression looks like. So the 4th one is the Wild West, and then you get Jamie Kennedy as son of Burt Gummer.
Yep.
Going to Africa. And
I think I've seen that one.
They go, and then the African graboids are like obviously huge. You know, everything's
so we're at Sharknado stage of Tremors. Got it.
Yeah.
And then my favorite in the series, and it's just the biggest WTF moment, is 6, Cold Day in Hell.
Oh yeah,
which is set in the Arctic Circle.
I've heard that one's kind of special, just by people talking about it. What? Shut up.
It's obviously filmed on the same set in California. All these are set. It's
in blue.
It's literally set. It's set in the Arctic Circle. The first couple of scenes are blue filter over sand portrayed as snow.
Oh.
And then the rest of the movie, there is no snow. And there's literally freaking people wading into springs and stuff.
Oh my God.
This movie set in the Arctic Circle, which, by the way, the Arctic Circle angle plays no role in the movie.
Yeah.
It's oh my gosh.
And then obviously
it's kind of great actually think about it.
7.
And then what gets involved? I didn't
Netflix for Shrieker Island.
Which
is why would Netflix be involved?
Because they made 7 of these. They're obviously popular. Like, listen, I'm gonna say this though. They're terrible movies, but people are still watching them because it's become a thing. Why did Sharknado take off even after 1? That movie should not have had more than 1, let alone as many as it did. But like,
because Burt Gummer is bankable.
Burt Gummer.
Well,
is Burt Gummer going to get his Meg version where the graboid is as big as the Earth or something?
It probably already has been.
Well, no spoilers, but it may be time for him to pass the baton.
Well,
shut up.
Because I think he's like 90 now. I think Michael
he's going to take this franchise into the stratosphere.
Well,
or Bill Hader, or not Bill Hader. John
Hader, isn't that his name?
Napoleon Dynamite.
The most disappointing thing, and I'm trying to, before I just start spouting facts that are incorrect because I should have come prepared for this, but the most disappointing thing is that a couple years ago we had it coming back with Kevin Bacon. There was going to be a series, and like the fact that we can make 7 based on the first, but we couldn't get this off the ground running that Kevin Bacon was coming. It was like a sci-fi series or something. Like the fact that we could not get this series on
there was a
television.
TV series,
It's also on Tubi.
But
you can watch it right now.
But
free.
It never came out.
No, it's on there.
No, the television series.
Yeah, no, it's on there. Tremors.
It never came out.
It's on Tubi. I tried to watch the movie and it said, no, this is Tremors, the series, episode 1.
Well, maybe episode 1. It never came out. It got canceled. Yeah. So
I mean, it's there if you want to watch it.
All 3 episodes or whatever.
It literally says has never been released to the public. What?
You go to Tubi right now.
Connection.
Sean's been drinking. I don't trust anything he's saying right
now.
Wow.
That is it. I'm going to clear my name. But I'm telling you, like because I was like, I want to watch Tremors right now to put it fresh in my brain before we talk about it. And it's like Tremors, the series. I'm like, I don't want to watch this crap.
And it, by the way, in case you're concerned out there, if you're Tremors fans.
Oh, it does go to a season 1 episode 1. Oh, this is, sorry, this is like a 2002 Michael Grove.
Told you.
Of course, Gummer's
no, but
in
that's
it. Come
not,
on.
That's not what I'm talking about, John. I'm talking about a couple of years ago.
Oh, you're talking about something more recent in
a couple of years
better.
Ago, Sci-Fi was releasing Tremors with Kevin Bacon as a
Shut
series.
up. How dare they not release that?
And it didn't. And what I'm saying is the fact that we've made it through 7 based on the old with fucking Gummer running them, and we couldn't get Tremors with Kevin Bacon off the ground is like infuriating to me.
To be honest, I mean, Kevin Bacon's a little bit above this series now.
But he was willing to. But that's a beautiful thing about Kevin Bacon. He is willing to do almost like he is willing
Which
to.
Which is the whole point of him being in the original.
Yeah, like Kevin Bacon is like this is not the time or the place, but one of my favorite videos on the internet is a Kevin Bacon video that my sister and I share with each other all the time, and we quote. And one of my favorite lines in it is, "Kevin, you're not even in this movie. Why are you here? And why are you naked?" So the video, I should specify, is about Kevin Bacon promoting more male nudity in movies. And it's a video of him just saying how amazing all his movies are where he's shown his wiener. And it's called Free the Bacon. And if anybody wants to watch it, it's like 4 minutes long, and it's so worth the watch because it's just exactly. It's just Kevin Bacon sitting there why you should free the bacon. And talking about how movies are better if we just show more wieners. So you're welcome, everybody. Go watch it because it's like, don't watch it right now, John. We're recording. Go watch it.
So there's a big
You're
problem
so
with
drunk,
Hollywood
John.
today.
He really, John, turn off the phone. Anyway, I recommend everybody go watch it because I watch it regularly, like once a month, and it makes me giggle.
You heard it here first, audience. Wieners make everything better.
Exactly. And point being is that Kevin Bacon is game for anything. So when they say, Kevin Bacon, can we do a Tremors TV series for sci-fi? Kevin Bacon says, I'm awesome. Of course we can. That's what he says. He says, I'm awesome. Can my wiener be in it? Let's do this.
Can we just do a legit sequel to Tremors with Kevin Bacon today?
I wish. Well, we can't because what's his name is unfortunate.
No, this will be like Tremors X or something, or Tremors Extreme. And then
you can't retcon the Gummer Chronicles. Come on.
Yeah,
because they're going to time travel. We're going to we're going to be Back to the Future crossing Tremors. It's going to be awesome.
I assume, Dave, that the series was going to retcon the Gummer series. No,
that's
right?
Well, he was in it.
Oh, he was? Yeah, but I think, what I'm betting though, they still were going to try and make it a.
Who hung up on that flipping character? He's not that good.
You don't even know. Have you been to a Tremors convention? Burt Gummer's the friggin' man.
He's
apparently
the only one that agreed to continue, so he's the lead. What do you mean?
Well, and after watching 6,
who wants to be in the sequel? Me?
I'll do it.
Oh, okay. You're now the franchise face.
I mean, to be fair, Kevin Bacon's career was now taking off. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so he's not going to come back for that sequel. Now he would, to my point. But like,
instead he did Hollow Man.
That was way later. And Hollow Man is worth watching to also make fun of.
Well, and honestly,
and his wiener's in it. His wiener's
that's why you free the bacon.
And that is a movie, unlike Tremors, that has not aged well.
No.
Can't go back to that one.
It wasn't good when it came out. It looked terrible.
No, but I know what Dave is.
Yeah,
is
you
saying.
cannot
like,
go back to that.
Oh, it's super rapey, isn't it?
Yeah, we can't go back to that. It's like,
if you love Kevin Bacon, just leave that one on the show.
Yeah, just leave that one be. He's just playing a role, Dave. He's just playing a role.
It's the art, not the artist.
Yeah, and it's got his infrared bacon in it, literally.
But
that we will watch over and over again.
But to those out there in the audience that may be like me and have gone down the rabbit hole of watching all of the Tremors movies, I will defend that Michael Gross genuinely loves this franchise. Like, he is totally okay with his entire career, and that's not hyperbole. Michael Gross's entire career after leaving Family Ties has been Tremors. I mean, and he has embraced that. For better or worse, he has accepted that this is a character that I love. And I even went down the role. Do y'all know like his background as a human being?
No.
Michael Gross?
No. Like educate us.
He was in like a friggin' street gang in high school.
What?
Drug dealer. And then he went to Yale University where he got his degree. And then he went to Hollywood to become an actor. And now he's friggin' Michael Gross. His entire legacy is now tied up in this gun-toting character from a second tier creature feature movie.
Family
but the
Ties,
fact is, he has never
Tremors.
complained about it. He's never poo-pooed it in any interviews. He's always been so gracious and so loving of this franchise that I can't help but respect the dude for that.
Oh no, I mean, listen, it's paying the bills, but not even paying the bills in it's paying the bills. Like he enjoys it. And what, you got to show up and film a movie once every whatever. And that's
terrible.
and you're hanging your hat on that. And like,
Yeah.
and think of it like he's the lead of these. These are his movies. So like he could even like, he holds these movies together because it's not Jamie Kennedy and it's not fucking John Hader or whoever's in the new one. Like, you know, they hang on him, whether he's passing a torch or not, whatever, you know, he's getting older. Things happen, but he's made his career from this, and like at more power to him. Like it's a pretty sweet gig to like.
And I kind of love that. Like I love the fact that the last movie, Shrieker Island, which is the Netflix direct, was based in the Philippines, obviously for the only purpose of Michael Gross saying, I would love to have a vacation in the Philippines. Because it's on these gorgeous islands in the middle of the Philippines.
So they're not even ass blasters or grab boys. They're shriekers.
Oh, they're
now?
all of them. They're all of them.
They're all there.
Oh man.
Spoilers, but yeah, you got the whole family. Because what you don't know, John, is that graboids become shriekers, which become ass blasters.
What?
It's all the same.
Oh man, I don't know if I can handle this, Dave. Do we have to watch them all?
Evolution.
I don't know. Maybe for science we should watch them all
I'm just saying, I did it through May, and it may have been the greatest thing ever. I mean, as far as Dave's depression, which has been weighing heavy on him for the last 3 years, spending May with Burt Gummer of all friggin' people was kind of fantastic.
Listen, there's sometimes nothing better than going through like a silly series of movies in a row. Like
turn your brain off.
Yeah, like you know. And like just watching them all. I'm trying to think of something I've done it for recently. And I was like, nah, I know I did it for something, but I can't think. Because there's also not that many that go that high. Like, okay, Friday the 13th or something like that, which I just watched. Just watched fucking X the other day, which why?
Oh god, that movie's trash.
I don't know. But like, but sat down and watched something like those, like in a row, like that's. Yeah.
But if I had sat down and watched the 10 freaking Children of the Corns movie, I'd
Lord,
jump off a bridge. But this series it started lighthearted and it stayed that way. It was a universe within which I could get there and just turn my brain off and drink a beer and laugh my ass off.
Or sometimes I'll go days where I just watch like Saw 1 through like whatever, because they're all on the movie channels. And when they play one, they play like them all. And sometimes for some reason they like to mix it up in the middle. Like they'll get to 4 and they'll go like, or they'll get to 3 and then they'll go like 5. And then the next night they'll have 4. And I'm like, really? Like you had to really, you couldn't do this exactly in order.
I saw, I don't know if it was 3 or 4 in the theaters. After I was like, that's too gross for me. And
I've seen them all a billion times.
But that was, I was at a different stage and kind of like like now I could probably watch it and be like,
yeah.
Like, it's
well,
just
they're not great movies by any means.
Yeah. No.
I maintain that the first one is a great movie, but
first one's great. Yeah, I do.
The rest of them are not good movies, but they get
I even like 2. Two's
hilarious. I just like 1, but like they get hilarious the more you watch them. Not to the same degree as Tremors does, but you know.
I think we need to do Tremors. Like we're hijacking the podcast. We're not just doing Tremors movies.
It's official.
Yeah, and we're gonna keep watching them. So we'll like come back around. So once we get to the end, we start back over again.
I'm just saying there may be a mental therapy aligned with that. If you can just let yourself embrace the stupidity of some of the stuff that comes along.
That's what I do with The Office and Parks and Rec. I literally rotate them in terms of like they are my therapy. It's like, I'm just going to start this over. I know it's going to be good. And then
Burt Gummer might be able to embrace. Might be
okay. I don't think I can purchase the complete collection. I don't think I'm that committed.
Got to work up to it, yeah.
But Tubi's got them all for free, so I can suffer through some ads.
So I did have a couple of questions. And we've covered a couple of them, but I do want to ask, because this became a thing after Kevin Bacon's stunt casting within Tremors, because even at the time, and he wasn't a huge actor, but he was bigger than Tremors.
He though? In 90?
Well, at 90?
He was Footloose.
Footloose and Friday the 13th.
And what was the other one?
I don't know. I'm just saying these things, but
Friday the 13th, he wasn't really anybody in that.
Exactly, but that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like I
he
thought,
was
like,
in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, and
but he was barely in that too.
Oh,
right?
Animal House, he was in
Animal
that.
House. Yeah, I mean,
but again, he's a
I get-
background character actor. He wasn't anybody.
but
trying to
he
find
was
it.
he was coming up
Sure.
to play even in this role, and he said he hated this role for years. He
Really?
hated being in this movie, and then he realized later on in life that he had just gotten married. They were about to have their first kid. He was dealing with depression. He had a lot of personal anxiety he was dealing with that he was putting off on this movie. But in his later life, like there are movies that he's been in that have been huge. Like, well,
Footloose.
you know all of his movies. Most of the movies he's never watched. Some of the movies he's watched once just to confirm the quality of the film. The only movie he's watched more than a dozen times is Tremors. Because in his later life, this became, and he has said this in interviews, this became one of the roles that he has enjoyed the most going back to, because and you have to imagine you can get there. I mean, from a human empathy perspective, you can get to the point of the memories that being on a set like this would bring back to you. I mean, it would just have to be goofy, fun, low stress. You made a lot of fun experience hanging out with the people that were on this set. It would have to bring back a lot of cool memories.
Yeah.
Well, he also reprised it for not the series that I was going to say, which he was willing to do, which obviously then Dave goes to your point that he appreciated it after to come back to do a series.
Yeah.
But also there was a commercial, was it like a couple years ago?
I do remember that.
They got Fred Ward in it before he passed away, and it parodied it had a Tremors moment, and it was like a cell phone or something. There was something. God, he's so great. Sorry.
But anyway, my question was, this became a thing after that with that stunt casting. If you want to, I think it's stunt casting, even if he wasn't a big name, he wasn't a Schwarzenegger or anything like that. He was up and coming. He was a serious actor. He had shown some chops. But have there been any surprise stunt casting in movies within this genre that you really love? Like I'm thinking for me, ones that were similar to me are like David Duchovny in Evolution, or Jeff Daniels and John Goodman in Arachnophobia. I thought those are fantastic little stunt casting.
That's a hard question. I mean, that's a really hard question.
I mean,
Samuel L. Jackson and Deep Blue Sea.
No, and Snakes on a Plane. Deep Blue Sea. That's a good one actually, because that moment too.
Like what the hell? Why is Samuel in this movie?
Oh my God! And that's one of the best moments of like any movie.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to say my favorite stunt casting is not in horror, but in comedy for Tom Cruise in Tropic Thunder. That is amazing. Granted, you want to talk about a movie you cannot release today? That is one of them.
Yeah,
he went hard at producers.
I loathe Tom Cruise. So,
But yeah, stunt casting's tough. I mean, because it's like kind of like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this person. Where I look at,
but that's not. Wait, is that stunt? I never saw it on these. Is that stunt casting or is that a cameo? Like there is a big difference there too. Stunt casting, I feel like implies they're in the whole. You cast them to pull people to the theater, and they're in the whole movie. Not a cameo,
Jamie,
like not someone, not like Sigourney Weaver at the end of
Spending a Day
in the Woods. Sorry, everybody.
Oh no!
But Jamie, I'm thinking of somebody like Michael Rooker in Slither.
Yeah, I was thinking him too. Because
I still gotta see that one.
But he's also a character actor, so I feel like
is it stunt casting? Yeah.
Is it stunt? Yeah, I see what you're saying. Like you put someone in something that like, I mean, Samuel Jackson in Deep Blue Sea feels like that. Like he's the biggest name in that movie.
Yeah, by a long shot.
Yeah, I mean, Snakes on a Plane too.
Yeah.
Nobody is any. Who else is even in that movie? I couldn't.
No one.
What's her name from? What's her name from ER? What's her name from
Don't
ER?
Even care.
Is in it?
Don't care.
Okay,
Samuel Jackson.
She's in it. She's in it, and I'm trying to think, but like I don't even remember.
I don't know. Quentin Tarantino movies all feel like stunt cast.
No, because they're big movie. Anybody in that movie?
Well, yeah, they're big movies, but it's like it's kind of like, wow, how did you get all these people? It's like Ocean's 11. That's like practically the whole cast is a stunt cast. It's like all big names. Got Brad Pitt, George Clooney.
I don't think you're getting the point of this.
Maybe I'm not.
Yeah, in Ocean's 11, those are roles that they want to play together. That's an ensemble cast. That's different from stunt
Who
casting.
chose to be together?
Well, so you're talking about like one guy that you wouldn't expect in a movie.
Just surprised when he comes around the corner, like, what the hell is he doing?
Yeah,
in this
and
movie?
agreed
To me, that sounds more like a cameo, I guess, in my head. But
Fair.
No, I'm just trying to think of what could be one that pops in my head. I'm not really thinking of one.
I'm thinking of one specifically that you would appreciate, Jamie, in Piranha 3D. You know what I'm talking about?
Which one is stunt? Which one is stunt?
In the very, very front of the movie.
Oh, Richard Dreyfuss, or
I mean, that's probably a cameo, but
that's a cameo, though.
Yeah, that's true.
I feel like
what Drew Barrymore? No, Drew Barrymore in Scream. That's more of a cameo.
That was a cameo, and that was her comeback from.
Yeah.
Although the marketing of that was like kind of stunt casting because they made you believe that like she was the lead and she wasn't at all. But that would have been stunt casting, kind of, in a way, because it was like an unknown. It was a lot of unknown teen actors or whatever, and then you had Drew Barrymore.
I know people don't love her the way I love her, but I thought Margot Martindale in Cocaine Bear was stunt casting.
Okay, yeah, I could see that. Because I do appreciate her. Now I'm almost thinking of like Bruce Willis and like the Expendables, or Arnold Schwarzenegger and the Expendables. That seems more like a stunt cast.
Yeah, Expendables does a lot of stunt casting for sure. Yeah, I think that's something that they do quite a bit. Anyway, I didn't mean to stump y'all. I do have a couple of pieces of trivia. And I mentioned the one about Bacon's kind of turnaround on this movie. One of the I did to a point that John made earlier about the phallicness of the graboid. One of the original graboids that the art director had envisioned was that these had a hard shell around them that that they could pull back, and they were a slimy worm once they got above ground. As you can imagine, when they saw that thing physically designed, it was full on a foreskin.
They're like, we cannot put a giant penis on the screen.
Oh no, we've made a dog dick.
But then they put 3 in the mouth of something else.
Exactly. Yeah, they went a different direction. I don't know if it's better, but yeah, Year of the Wiener.
Yeah.
The other one that I thought was funny is that this movie is Fred Ward's reaction to Bacon and to what we were talking about earlier, John. Apparently, Fred Ward's reaction to Bacon taking 9 swipes at that staple before he got it in the post was completely genuine. Like,
shut up.
What the hell, dude?
Are you kidding me?
Apparently, that was an inside joke after that. I'm like, have you ever swung a hammer?
That was so bad.
And it's such a beautiful moment in this movie. And then to my boy, Michael Gross, I have to give him props. My final piece of trivia is that Michael Gross began filming on Tremors one day after shooting his last scene in the last episode of Family Ties.
Interesting.
Oh, wow.
This movie has been his entire career after that. Well, and he's played some other roles, obviously, but this has been his main dynasty after that. He's also the only actor who has been in every single one of the movies in the series. And he was and this kind of broke my heart because, I want Michael Gross to have a good time and I wanted other people to support him. But apparently he was the only star from the original film to come back for the 30th anniversary of this film. They hosted a huge party in Lone Pine, California, where this was shot for the 20th anniversary. All the fans came out. Apparently Michael Gross was the only star that showed up.
Aww.
And I understand that some of them have died. I get that, but that he's the only one that showed up after he literally carried this whole franchise on his back for the last.
Looking at you, Kevin Bacon. Where were you?
Come on.
Kevin. He was showing his wiener in something.
That's right. He was releasing the bacon.
Kevin, put your pants back on. Oh, these quotes from this video are so great. Kevin, this is an animated film. We don't need you naked or whatever he said. Put your pants back on. So good.
Oh, Lord. Kevin. So, tip of the hat to Michael Gross, Birdcomer, my boy. Any other thoughts on Tremors, 1990 classic creature feature?
No, it's one of the greatest movies of all time.
Well, I do have a Dave's Critter Corner. Anybody want to guess what my Critter Corner's on this week?
Earthworm.
No, it's not on the graboids.
It's either the thing that burrowed in the ground, the prairie, whatever, or it's or the sheep. I don't know. It's not the horse that died.
It's the horses.
Oh man,
Dave has
that
to
was
talk
kind
about
of that
horses.
was kind actually that would be a cancelable moment for me. That was pretty rough to watch.
It was rough for Dave too, but we're going to talk
Yeah.
about it in a lighthearted way because I can't go down the whole road of. And I did confirm, I did go to the proper authorities on the subject matter and find out the horses were fine. They were not harmed.
Yeah,
Good.
see, I didn't want to look that up because
Yeah.
I was very afraid because we're talking about a
I had to
1990
before
movie.
I could talk about the
know.
horses. I
I
had
was
to.
like, we're talking about a 1990 movie that I love, and I
Yeah.
was like, I'm so afraid to find out
Yeah.
about this horse. But
Well, Jamie,
I'm
you
glad.
should be assured they were fine. There was some anxiety. The wrangler worked with the horse on the moment when the graboid is
Yeah,
wrapped
when it
around
grabs,
when
yeah.
it pulls it down. Totally fine. Trained horse.
Good.
Did it several times. Had a minor anxiety in one of the shoots. After that, they took a break, came back, got it the next turn. He was fine. So he's good.
Okay.
Good.
Good.
But the horses that were shown in this movie, both of the horses, at first I thought Earl's horse was a paint, and that's the breed, a paint horse. And then I knew that Val's horse was an Appaloosa. But in the last watch, I think I've convinced myself, or I've agreed upon in my own mind, that both of them were Appaloosas. So I'm going to give you a little history on the Appaloosa breed. So historically, they've been associated with the Nimpu, which is what we know as the Nez Perce indigenous tribe. Nez Perce is not what they call themselves. Nez Perce is what the French Canadian trappers called them because they inaccurately identified them as a indigenous tribe that pierced their nose, which was what Nez Perce means. That was a totally different tribe. So again, thanks colonial history for fucking everything up and not getting it right. But they call themselves the Nimipu, and they were the first to breed what is the modern in Appaloosa. They were based in central Idaho, northeast Oregon, southwest Washington, in that area around the Pula River, which is where Appaloosa comes from, Appaloosa. The name Appaloosa is likely comes from the river, as I mentioned. Appaloosas were likely bred, which I thought was interesting, as a variety of a Spanish set of horses called the spotted horse that were traded with the Nimipu tribes of the Northwest in the mid 18th century. They were bred as war horses and hunting horses, and they were literally the M1 Abrams tank of the 18th century. Like the U.S. military cavalry feared the Appaloosa horse more than anything else on the planet, to the point, and I found this very interesting, the Appaloosa horse was illegal to breed in the U.S. until 1935. That's how hard rock metal is that the horse was so feared by the U.S. military that it was illegal to breed Appaloosas until 1935 because the Nez Perce and the U.S. military had a big war, and they were the only indigenous tribe that were beating ass on the U.S. military in the mid 1800s because they had this horse that would go places and were faster, stronger, more sure-footed, could run mountain trails faster than the U.S. military cavalry could. So I found that pretty cool.
Awesome.
They were always valued as a breed by the Nimipu for their intelligence, their sure-footedness on rough terrain, their endurance, and their speed. They were said to be fast enough to run down a bison with a warrior on their back, while being what's called paso fino, if you're a horseman, which means smooth gaited, means you could ride them and they are smooth enough to ride on that a hunter could fire their bow easily at a full gallop while they were running down bison. So that makes them like the Ferrari of horses. The original Appaloosa breed nearly died out, as I mentioned, after the Nez Perce War of 1876, when the U.S. military confiscated the tribes and destroyed all of the horses, destroyed all of the Appaloosa horses, and made it illegal to breed them until 1935. Luckily, there was a group in Oregon, a group of indigenous horsemen that in the 1930s began to revive the breed. But we don't know if the modern Appaloosa breed is fully true to they're using the same bloodlines and the same types of bloodlines. But the common distinguishing features of Appaloosas, and if you saw their horses, in this movie, they've got mottled what's called flea bit skin and coats, meaning they're freckled in a lot of ways. They've got a lot of spots on them. They have visible scleras, which and that's a fancy word for saying the white part of your eye. If you notice on most horses, the white part of the eye does not show at all. It's kind of like dogs, Jamie. Most dogs don't show the white part of their eye, but dogs like hound dogs and Labradors that show part of the white, it just makes them seem more intelligent because you can actually see the expression in their eyes a little more. So Appaloosas have the white of their eye showing, and they have vertically striped hooves. And the reason I got excited about getting to talk about this is because an Appaloosa is the horse that Dave grew up with.
Oh, I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah.
I knew.
So I had 3 horses growing up. I had 2 American Quarter horses and an Appaloosa named Nick. And I think in the Nope episode, I talked about Nick. Nick was my best friend. Nick was the horse that I spent the most time with. Now, for most horses, especially American saddleback horses, the height in horses is measured in hands. A standard horse is 14.
In what? Ends?
In hands.
Oh,
in hands.
Well, that's even weirder. Sorry.
And you measure from the front leg hoofed up to the withers, and that's where you get their height.
In hands?
In hands. and it's standardized off somebody's hand, not my hand, obviously. But most horses that are saddleback horses run between 14 and 15 hands from the hoof to the wither. Nick was huge. And Nick was like 16'1", which would make him, to translate that into humans, that would make him about 7.5 feet tall.
That's huge.
So he's a big boy. Which when we bought him, he was bought for my sister. He was what we call ring spoiled, meaning that he had a bad owner. I'm not going to go down all that. He was abused. He didn't like being in rinks. It caused him great anxiety. He was not good with people that were timid on his back. So he became my horse. My sister didn't like riding him because he was very tall. So the fall would have been, it caused her anxiety.
Oh, that's scary. Yeah.
And he was nervous. Her nervousness made him more anxious. And he was an incredibly anxious horse. So I ended up with him and I trained him. And the way we got around his hate for the rink is I moved from riding Western, which is what cowboys ride, the big saddles, the way you see people ride on Yellowstone and stuff like that. I started riding English hunter jumper, meaning that he and I started running out. We used to train outside the rink, jumping gates. We would jump 6-foot gates, and he friggin' loved that. And he and I became best of friends. He would have moments still though, where something would trigger him. Either it was a flash behind him or somebody would come up to him that would give him a memory of his background, and he would freak out. He would just have an anxiety attack. And unfortunately, he weighs 1,500 friggin' pounds. So when he has an anxiety attack, you just got to get out of his way. But one of my favorite stories of Nick, and then I'll shut it down. I know that most people don't care about this, but I was excited to talk about it because he was an Appaloosa. He's incredibly intelligent, incredibly emotionally intelligent animal. Like he would pick up on my vibe, and he would comfort me, or he would calm me down when I was upset, like just by his behavior and the way he would interact with me. But it was so funny. I was at a national horse show. Nick and I went national because he was the only Appaloosa that was doing hunter jumper, because these are not horses that usually do that. But he was friggin' tall for his breed, and he loved doing it. But we were in outside of Nashville in an area called Shelbyville, where there's this huge stadium. And I was staying with him at night, and I had just cleaned his stall, and I was taking the wheelbarrow down to dump his crap and everything at the end of the barn where you put that stuff. And somebody screamed out, the horse. And I turned around, and I had forgotten to pull the stall closed, and Nick was walking with me without a halter or any shit on his face. He was just walking with me down to put the wheelbarrow at the end of it. And literally when this person started screaming, he started looking around like, what? Where's the horse?
Talking about?
And he just walked back with me to the barn.
What's this person crazy about?
Exactly. What are they yelling at?
It's like, Dave, don't you see this maniac out here?
Is there a lion out here? So anyway, my little tip of the cap to the Appaloosa, which is one of the most globally, American breeds are kind of looked down upon, except for Appaloosas. Appaloosas are one of the most valued and respected breeds globally because of the quality of their breeding. Anyway, just wanted to share that. That's my critter. Got to talk about Appaloosas. I got to check that box this week.
I never thought we would have got that out of Tremors.
Hey, you show me a horse, we're going to talk about it, John.
Hey, I'd rather hear about horses than most of the movies we watch.
So, as we mentioned at the top of the episode, we still miss our boy Eli. He's still missing. We hope he's back next week. We are continuing to think about him and send him good vibes. All joking aside, he's just got a lot of work stuff going on right now, and he's hoping to be back soon. He just had to take some time to focus on work for a little bit. But, as you know, we didn't have anything last week. We just kind of took the week off because we didn't have a Campfire Tales. But there may be some things that me and Jaime and John are going to talk about this week. So I think we may have what we'll call a diet Campfire Tales. I can't bring all of the energy that Eli brings to that thing. We'll bring a little fun, our contribution to the Campfire Tales world, and that's all I'm going to say about that.
The substitute teacher.
Yeah, the Pell substitute of the Mole King, maybe. But we're going to get together and talk about some fun stuff this week. If you like the episode, we do ask that you subscribe and rate the show. Give us some comments. Jaime likes to get those. We haven't gotten any comments in a while.
Comments? What are comments?
We've gotten great 5-star ratings. We get lots of 5-star ratings, but nobody tells us why we're great. And sometimes it's just nice to tell people how much you love them. But if you want to learn more about us or learn more about what some of the other stuff we've got going on, you can visit our website, thewickedwild.com. We do have a lot of fun new merch that we've designed that's available on the website now. We just redid our shop on the website and got some fun new designs that we're re-releasing for that. If you want to follow us on social media or interact with us, we've got several different members of the community that are now commenting and reacting and giving us some feedback on our social media, which is a lot of fun. You can do that on Twitter at Wicked While We Are, or Slasher, which is the horror only community. Much smaller community, but much more focused. I've had a lot of fun with them. Also at Wicked While We Are. As you may know, you probably know, we also release all of our reviews and Campfire Tales on YouTube as videos. You can just search the Wicked Wild Podcast and find us there. If you have any questions or feedback, anything you want us to know, or any recommendations you might have, you can send those to me in an email, podcast, podcast, at thewickedwild.com. And I'll do a special request this week because Jaime and John and Eli and I were talking a month ago about maybe doing a live watch coming up at the end of summer or coming into this cooler, spooky season. If there's a movie you might want to do a live watch with us with, give us some recommendations. We got a few ideas on what we might want to do, but if you have something that you would recommend us maybe doing a live watch with our community, send me an email. Anything else, John? Anything going on?
I guess I have to go watch all the Tremors movies. I got that going on.
It's time well spent.
Nothing else going on. Just trying to enjoy the summer.
What's left of it? Yeah, enjoy the final last throes of summer. Jaime, what about you? Anything exciting going on?
No, I want everybody to go to YouTube, type Kevin Bacon, free the bacon, and just just space out for about 5 minutes, and you'll just be so much happier for it. Like, you could all come to me on Twitter and tell me how thankful you are that I brought this into your life.
Jaime Giordano, Kevin Bacon's publicist. All right. Thank you all for listening. As we always say on the Wicked Wild Podcast, our recommendation to you is that you get out there and get yourself lost, because it may be the only place you can find yourself.
Or Eli.
Good night.